All right, guys, we're here with Mohit Joshipura. Just finished up his photo shoot, lost close to 35 pounds to get into the best shape of his life. Just done a DEXA scan, showing up at 11% body fat. And Mohit, it's been a fantastic journey for you, but I guess what we want to let the community know is a little bit about yourself. What's your backstory? You know, where did you first start off? What's your work situation like? What's your family like?
Yeah, of course. So, Paran, I've always been engaged in general with health and fitness because I come from a health professions background. So does my wife, Swati. And so I've always been interested in health, fitness, and nutrition. But the reality is, as I was telling you, despite everything, I've done 5 years of Orange Theory Fitness. I did a year and a half of Peloton over the course of the pandemic. And while I saw changes with cardiorespiratory fitness, I never saw changes with regard to body fat or body composition. And I was likely lacking, sustained training elements. I was lacking nutritional insights. And so that is the part that really attracted me to KMAC. My wife is also in the health professions. We have 2 young kids. Both sets of parents live in the Dallas area, but tend to be quite busy. Both of us tend to be rather busy. And so we were looking for something where we would see success, tangible success, but would still not interfere with the necessities of daily life. And your ability, KMAC's ability at large to kind of insert itself into the existing realities of one's daily life is a big reason why I think I was able to achieve success with fat loss, and so many of your other clients have as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think a lot of people have that experience there. They've done the classes, and that's one side of fitness. But being able to pull together nutrition, strength training, especially around your busy work life, family life, it's what we're there to do, to try to expedite that process for you, right?
And in my case, there are a couple of factors. One was I knew that I wouldn't be able to go to a gym because of my incredibly busy remote work, and I also travel a fair bit. And you knew this from the get-go. You were able to tailor my program to a home gym setup. Were able to guide me through multiple different personal and professional travel commitments, and come out on the other side like this. So, as I was again telling you earlier, even if you are someone who travels for work, even if you are someone who is unable to make time necessarily to go to a gym, as long as you're willing to make certain adjustments and maintain that sense of focus, success is still possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Because what was it, about 2 weeks ago, you were literally traveling 2 weeks before his shoot, still able to make it.
Absolutely.
So it's absolutely possible.
Yeah, undoubtedly.
So before you started with KMAC Fitness, before you booked in that consultation call, was there a trigger for yourself where you thought, I've got to make a change?
Yeah. So as I said, despite all the things I had tried, while my cardiorespiratory fitness had seen some changes, I was starting to get skinny fat. And that's in part a cosmetic issue, but more importantly is also a metabolic health issue. Because as we all know, the fat that resides here tends to be the most metabolically dangerous as you age. On top of that, I also had have a family history of heart disease, specifically in my dad, who, even him being 75 years old and being extremely lean to this day, has heart disease despite his best efforts. And so I wanted to get ahead of that. And aside from a cosmetic change or a body transformation change, I wanted a metabolic shift. And really, those were the triggers that really inspired me to start KMAC.
No, absolutely. And I think sometimes it's just eye-opening. The older generation, it makes you want to make a change now, which is now going to impact your family as well, right? Okay, so why did you choose KMAC Fitness? There's, the options to be able to go to in-person training. Was there anything in particular about KMAC Fitness that appealed to you?
Yeah, a couple things. One is we know people in Dallas, quite a few people in Dallas actually, who have tasted success with KMAC. And these are, again, they're all from a South Asian background, but they're all people who have different kinds of jobs, different levels of life and work commitments, and different life situations. And despite all of the different ages, and they've all found success through KMAC. As long as they've been willing to put in the work, they've found success. And so that success beyond a point just speaks for itself. So that was one of the main reasons. And as my only hesitation was whether something that was entirely remote,
Yeah.
without any tactile in-person live feedback, would work.
Yeah.
But then again, I decided to take the plunge because at the end of the day, the other people who had experienced this over the course of many, many months had gone through the same program and seen success. And I'd specifically obviously learned about you through a couple of contacts and wanted, Swati and I decided to just take the plunge and try this out because again, evidently nothing else had given me the kind of success metabolically and cosmetically that I was looking for. And it was just time.
No, absolutely. And I think you touched on something there. It's like, that's how we grow. You see someone who has gone through the journey, someone that you know, and it's like, oh, it is possible. So-and-so has been able to do it. So you've inherently been, inspired by people that you know.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about anyone that you have been able to, inspire? How have the people around you changed in any way?
Yeah, so it's not just immediate family, right? Immediate family, my brother, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, they're all asking about what took place and how we were able to sustainably take fat off, keep fat off and stay healthy while doing so, without engaging in any sorts of ridiculous fad diets, tons of unproven supplements, nothing out there that's unproven. And we were still able to do it. So, with your guidance, I've been talking to people about what the fundamental concepts are of the program and what it takes to make these changes and really why we make these changes beyond the look in the mirror. Because there's so much more to programs like KMAC beyond what you see in the mirror. And as you and I have touched on. And that's the message I try and relay to people who ask me about the program. And in due course, it's not just adults that we engage with. As my kids grow older, I want them to also know that Swati and I are invested in our health and fitness, not only for our own personal growth and health, but also for the sake of the extended family. And that's also an important message as kids nowadays are growing up.
No, absolutely. And shout out to Swati, the spouse, the MVP, the one who
100%.
really helps, tick things over. And that level of support is just immeasurable, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I'm not exaggerating when I say that. It's highly unlikely that I'd be able to attain photo shoot form without her support and the support of my extended family. Because when I engage with something like this, I lock in to a point where I become hermetic almost. It becomes a life's work for me and a life's passion. And the only way to succeed at something like that, especially when you have a family and you have work outside of this, is if you have the kind of support that she was able to provide me. And she has a full-time job. She's a physician as well. We have young kids, as I said. And on top of that, she was part of the program for quite a few months as well. And that in its own way was a kind of symbiotic inspiration, symbiotic motivation for us to keep going and pushing each other. So I'm not exaggerating at all when I say that. Spousal support, family support played a huge role, obviously aside from the support that you were able to provide.
No, absolutely. And you touched on something a number of times just then about how it's not only about the cosmetic, but also the mental transformation. Talk us through how you've been able to see, more of a mindset shift throughout the journey.
Yeah, mental and metabolic is arguably more prominent than the cosmetic. What I was talking to Swati about this yesterday, Paran, and I was telling her that when you start something like this, you look forward to what you'd look like 30 pounds down, or when you have abs, or when you have a bicep or a tricep. And that's all great. But when you get close to a journey like this, when you get close to the end of fat loss, you recognize, or at least I recognized, that it was almost more fulfilling to be part of the journey itself. It was almost as much fun, if not more fun, than the culmination. And I think and that's the mindset shift. The ability to love the journey, not the destination. Because the reality is, the photo shoot, as you and I have talked about, is a checkpoint. It's a point in time. But then what? This is a journey And what you take with it is the mindset shift and the fundamentals. And really that is the stuff I'm going to lean on in the months and years to come. And that's really the true gift of KMAC.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's a mindset shift. It's a lifestyle shift, right?
Absolutely.
I guess finally, Mohit, what are the 3 pieces of advice you'd give to someone considering starting out their own journey?
So number 1 is know your why. Know your why. And it's okay, people can have different whys. Maybe for you the why is I want a 6-pack, and that's perfectly okay. Maybe for you the why is, my dad has heart disease, I want to prevent that outcome for myself. Or maybe your outcome is some combination thereof. But whatever it is, knowing your why plays a big role in your ability to get started and sustainably continue with a program like this. Secondly, I'd say at some point, there's never going to be a perfect time in your life to start something like this. Never. There's always going to be something, whether it's a work commitment or a family commitment or children or some sort of minor health issue, whatever it might be. There's never a perfect time. And so at some point you just have to take the plunge.
Yeah.
And you have to trust that things will work around this. You have to trust the guidance and the ability of your coach to adjust around those life circumstances. And if you're lucky enough, like I was, to have family support, you have to lean on that as well. So that'd be the second thing I say. And the third thing I'll say is, don't underestimate the value of consistency and basics. There's no glory to this for the first 10 months. It's really a grind all day, every day, to make sure you get the basics right. But in that journey, in that process, is where your true transformation happens.
Yep.
You may not see it in the mirror every day, every week, maybe even every month, but it's happening. And it's more importantly happening inside as opposed to outside. And don't underestimate the value of that transformation over and above the physical transformation. So those would be the 3 things I'd say are really most impactful for me.
No, absolutely. 3 solid pieces of advice. But I'm sure you're going to be here inspiring more people to start their own journey now. Yeah. That's a wrap for us today with Mohit. Honestly, a massive congratulations to you.
Thanks, mate.
Once again.
Many thanks to you. Couldn't have done it without you.